Okay, welcome everyone to the August 4th iteration of the MicroProfile Live Hangout. Today is the community meeting combined in the second half of the meeting with a working group discussion. And a link to the meeting notes, if someone wants to repost them again for the latest folks that have joined, a link to the meeting notes is in the chat. And please click on the link and add your name to the list of contributors. It is everyone's shared responsibility to take notes. I do my best, but I also kind of moderate the call, and it's difficult to do both. And this will be uploaded to YouTube, and the chats, which you're encouraged to use, will also be uploaded, so a heads up on that. And I think that is all for the normal spiel. Let me share my screen. Okay, screen is shared. Let's go ahead and I'm going to ask for folks to be brief, just because it looks like we may have a decent agenda today. So there were some new folks, Amelia, that you wanted to have introduced, so please go ahead.
Yes. Tatiana, are you okay to introduce yourself from the Gelastic side? And then Steven from JFrog.
Thanks, Amelia. Yes, my name is Tatiana Federinchik, as you already know. I'm VP of Marketing in Gelastic company and work for this company for 8 years already. I'm really excited about all the work around cloud computing, Java, and all the stuff around development. Like to work with developers directly. It's specific work, but still it's something that I enjoy. And here I hope that I will be helpful for MicroProfile community as well. And we'll try to do something useful, to give some hints, maybe sometimes from marketing perspective.
Okay, Steven.
Okay, and yeah, let me introduce myself. So for those of you who don't know me, I think I know almost everyone on this call. I run developer relations at JFrog since leaving Oracle a year ago, and I've been just as I was doing at Oracle, I'm causing a lot of collateral damage at JFrog by hiring lots of fun, exciting community members like Melissa, who you guys probably know from all the unconferences, Sven, who also, in Germany, he's kind of a force, and for a while he was doing the Vaden thing. And then in general, just kind of being out at conferences and events and representing Java and technologies. And I was excited to join and help out here. So mainly I'm interested to engage and see how JFrog or other folks in my company can help to engage with the MicroProfile community and make it a better place. And I'm going to apologize that I have to drop off a little bit early for the call today, but I'll also drop in next week as well and stay for the full meeting. So excited to hang out. I love your shirt, John. And see, so I have a special shirt as well.
So cool. Hello, the next hello, Vince. What do you think? It's like, seriously.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm going to try and keep this brief here. Okay, so thanks for the introductions. Awesome. And I am going to move on to the agenda items. The first one being MicroProfile 4. So I submitted a PR for the MicroProfile 4 platform release. This is just a heads up to everybody. Mainly, it's just typically, Kevin and Edwin are reviewing for comments. Most folks don't need to really look into this. It's fairly boilerplate updates, but because we're moving to the Jakarta APIs, it's a little bit more involved this release. But you can take a look if you want, but I suspect that the review from Kevin and Edwin are sufficient. And I'm hoping that I can kind of take all of their comments. A lot of them I've already fixed, I haven't pushed yet, and release MicroProfile 4.0 milestone 1 tomorrow. Okay, so that's the update there, along with the release being tomorrow. Okay, let's see here. Oh, and thanks everyone for, I started a thread in the group, Google group, about needing help around some of the specs. They were addressed quickly. Super big thank you for those that helped out with that. Let's see here. Forum thread updates.
So John, sorry about that. I
Yeah.
didn't put my name. The thing is that when the projects are completing the milestone, they are using the forum to provide the updates. So while I put the agenda for this week, that was last week, I noticed that it's a good idea for us to add their direct feedback, even though some of them are not in this call, to just say, hey, this is the update from that API, from that project. Do you see what I mean? So then I think it's a good idea. I'm not sure. I think more updates came out to the forum. And moving forward until we have the release, it seems to me like a good idea to just add forum thread update. It means it comes from that community of contributors, and you just add it there. Anyone wonders about that API, they can go and click and say, okay, that happens. That was my suggestion. So I just own that directly here. Sorry, I'm multitasking. I'm tweeting and talking.
Okay, and I felt guilty myself. For everyone, anyone can add items to the agenda. Basically, we cover releases first, marketing, and any other things kind of in the backlog, and then working group discussions. The one request I have is that we prefix all of these bullets with a name, right? Who's the one initiating it? So feel free, in the future to insert topics and just prefix your name, just so I know who to defer to have the conversation, to lead the conversation.
Yeah, I skipped that part. Apologies.
And I did too on the first one because I forgot myself. So, yes. Any other 4.0 comments around the release, the specs?
I have a question. We had a topic last week or 2 weeks ago about labeling, and it seems that it's working, what we're doing on that side. Based on the threads added here, we have labeling for the changes. I'm not sure if you have an update on that one, John. You were supposed to figure out something and then come back and tell us if there is other changes that we need to implement on that regard, or what we have done and like from that call to now suffices.
Yeah, you had that as an action item. I actually removed it just because people did it, right? People labeled everything. It really wasn't an issue. The only thing is there still is inconsistency. I'm not like a stickler on that, just as long as I know what they are. So when I create release notes or whatever, but that's not something that I want to kind of go off and tackle. But if people think that we want consistency across the specs and how we label things, I'll leave it up to the spec teams.
So for this labeling and also consistency, purpose, I updated the MicroProfile like a wiki about how to document these incompatible changes. So I also followed up with individual specifications and make sure we produce a similar specs regarding the release note, incompatible changes, and etc. I think it's good to be consistent across the MP specs.
Last one.
Yeah, I think it's good too. It's just not something that I want to be the one to enforce. I'll let like I said, the spec teams figure that one out. So if you want to, Emily, please maybe just provide a link here in the meeting minutes. If you already did last week, don't worry about it. Oops, sorry, I'm sharing my screen. I shouldn't do that.
Yeah, I will add a link.
All right, let's move on to marketing. Amelia or anyone on the marketing call, go ahead and.
Ryan should be here.
Yeah, I can do this one today.
Can you?
So on the marketing call this week, we covered the phase 1 of kind of improving the home page of MicroProfile to make it more. Am I not muted, right? Okay, good. Make it more dev oriented. If you would like to click on this link here, you can kind of see where the issue is going. And right now, it was simplifying the overall view of it, simplifying the homepage, adding more little bit, do you say code snippets to starter, and then Emily suggested adding component tower to the release cards that is more interactive, so it can take you to what you want to see. Maybe is it better if I just share and kind of run people through it real quick?
Yeah, Ryan, I was going to say, why are you not sharing?
No. All right, then I'll share. Hold on 1 sec.
And let's add the ticket to the agenda of today so that everyone knows
It's
that
there.
it's welcome. Oh, it's perfect.
It's all there. So this is not live. I mean, in the ticket you can find a live link that's hidden, you know, so no one's gonna find it. But it's just mocking up some changes. Actually, some of you haven't seen it. I came up with a new version also, how to represent was it the component tower, or Emily's on the call, right? She was. She's
Yeah,
gone.
she was.
So
I'm too slow to get unmute.
do you want to chime in here and explain kind of, because you were the base thought of this and the reason we pushed it?
Oh yeah, so basically it's let's step back and to to see this website. So it's currently this website is just not developer focused. And then we say, okay, the people also complain they cannot find the specifications, the PDF for the specification and Java docs, etc. And then we kind of with Andy, Kibir, and Ryan, and also Amelia and Joe. So we came together to see how can we redesign this website. And then the first version is that let's all put all the specifications on this page. And then this is more like a dumping ground. You see, okay, this kind of all scattered around. And then in Open Liberty, also in my past presentation, when I talk about MicroProfile, I put into 3 layers. The first layer is that you create a basic microservices. Like you use the CDI, JAX-RS, JSONB, JAX-RS REST client to create a basic one. And then you need to worry about your quality service. You need to make a resilient microservices and configurable, and also is to secure the microservices. And then after that, you think of deploy to the cloud, and you think about open tracing and metrics, and also the what else? Open tracing metrics and health. So that's why it's that's all kind of operation focused. That's why we put in standard, we put all the building blocks together, and then in this way we create some layered fashion. So people will think, okay, from if they more focus on the operation focus, they know which specs they need to look into it. So this is Ryan did an awesome job. I think it's really nice.
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress to get everyone's opinion on how we should group it, if we should group it, group them. So here, as you can tell, we just pretty much, you would roll over and there would be a rollover action on each one where you could click it and take you to where you need to go. Mm-hmm. And then in the marketing meeting, there was discussion on should we group them in a way. And I kind of mocked it up. It's all very rough, but I went for more of a UI look. how to mock it up. It could even give a small description, and all of it also would be rollover and actions, and you can click where you want it. This is just an idea we had. It's nothing going through until we hear what everyone's opinion is, and if they think it's a good direction to continue.
Mm-hmm. So let me inject here and say that there is a Git issue in the minutes from the 2 marketing Hangouts that have included this content. Now it has been a month. Ryan, can you please show the Git issue that shows that it has the tracing? Because when we went to the main page, it's not a website that we are adjusting, it's the main page only. And when we went into the tickets, there is an area where we listed everything that was and is currently in the current main page. And then during the first call, we went in here, Andy wrote in the minutes, this is what we have, and this is what the discussion led us to. We will include these components. I call them components because it goes by blocks. And then what Ryan did yesterday is he delivered via the ticket the following design. Ryan, can you show us that?
I'll go to the one from today.
No. Can you show the original one? Start the discussion. The thing is that you brought something super cool that is slides.
Well, I'm showing in the newest. If you haven't seen the ticket, the newest one has updates on each slide and why, and also we need to discuss. Sorry, that I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm bad at saying your name. Tatiana? Yeah, Tatiana. I didn't want to ruin it, but she also put some nice suggestions in there that would be good to review also. So.
Yeah, I have a quick question. And this may have been covered on the marketing course or before. The usage of the Oracle assets at the top of the page, has that been addressed?
I'm not sure what you're referring
to. So
if
you scroll up to the top of the page, on the website, or even
on the website. Sorry about that.
So the Duke's Choice Award and the Java logo are both Oracle assets.
Yeah, that is public because we won the award, so we can use it as it is.
Are you sure? Because the kind of the 2D Duke is public. This 3D
sure
Duke
was given to us when we got the word, because I didn't create it, and I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that would put it up.
Okay, well, I think that's something that you should check on.
Okay.
But even if that's okay, the Java trademark, that's definitely proprietary. So again, you may have covered this, but if not, it's wise to seek permission to use that.
Great.
Elastic also won this award, and we got this kind of badge that year as well. And we have the possibility to use it in our marketing activities. No problem with that. Oracle doesn't have any issues with that.
Yeah. So Vince, this is really good that you bring it up. The file was delivered to MicroProfile to be used in the website. But you know what? Given current changes, it doesn't hurt to ask.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so again, because I have experience at Oracle, I mean, I frankly, I could have given people files, but it doesn't mean that I'm just trying to I don't know, I don't think there would be a problem given that Oracle's involved, but technically there could be a problem. So it might be wise to seek clarification. Okay,
then we will send, Vince, can you write a Git ticket and say follow up with the PMO? We will send it to the JCP, and we will send it this week. Fine. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Makes sense.
Yeah, let's.
Sorry, so Vincent's going to create a marketing ticket?
Yes. You can assign it to him. And
I'll have to.
Yeah.
Okay, if you could assign it to yourself, Vincent, because I don't know your email address off the top of my head.
All right. Well, okay.
Task. If you're giving feedback, you own it. This is how MicroProfile works.
Yeah.
By the way, if there's a problem, I think maybe it's because a lot of people involved in the Jakarta EE as well. Jakarta EE also uses this image.
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. It's industry practice to prolifically promote these badges. So my gut tells me it's okay, but
Yeah,
it's
but
okay to double check.
ask. Yeah, let's ask.
Yeah, Oracle is extremely protective of the Java trademark, especially the coffee cup.
We have no idea what you're talking about, Vincent.
You think?
Okay, we will ask. Better to be in that error side.
Yep.
Okay, so let's. Ryan, anything else to say? Because I haven't seen the tickets and
Well, just a quick thing. So I noticed when we scrolled by, Andy had left some comments about wanting to see some source code on the front page, and I would totally agree with him on that.
So it is there, but it's in the MicroProfile in the starter section.
Mm-hmm.
So this slide.
This is what I mocked up. It's showing the starter and then the code that's produced.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if this is going to satisfy everyone, but
I wonder if we could come up with a code example that showed like one of every API, and then you could like hover over it. It would tell you what API that was.
It doesn't do the rollout. I asked. Yes.
Well, I mean, it would just take more work. Yeah, this is just
yeah.
So that's a beautiful asset there, Ryan. My experience with developers, unless you hit them in the face with something, they're not going to notice it. So maybe it should be somewhere on the page more prominently displayed, so it's obvious what it is.
That the code is?
Yeah.
Okay. Prominent in what way? Like placement on higher up?
I wouldn't. I don't know. But I'm just thinking that. I mean, I love this asset, but again, you know, small words, big pictures, right? So my thought process is to have some of this stuff very prominent and very cookie cutter, so people can immediately see it.
Yep. What I was going to say is just that if you scroll the code APIs, we can see most of it.
Say again?
You want to do the wiper to the left.
Okay, I'm sorry, moderator stepping in here for a time check. We got 4 minutes. And sorry, it always seems like David and Emily, I always hit up for the time check. So sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was quiet.
4 minutes. Yes, you were. That's not a dig.
Yeah. So it would be great to see that, but with like more code, with like more API usages, like we could have a JWT, roles allowed in there. We could have something for metrics at counted. And then if you highlight over them, it would show you the name of the API. That would be one. We would need some more code to put on the page.
For sure, yeah.
But we would need to dedicate a little bit more space to it. But there might be a way to highlight this specification name associated with the code, so people have just a much quicker way to imagine the MicroProfile in their head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, further to what you said, David, Ryan, can you scroll to the right? Can you slide
I was like, no, it's up and down. Yeah, I can.
So in here, so to make it more like a space saving and also more interactive, I don't know whether it's kind of feasible or not. You click a config and slide, and then the config snippet showed up. If you click the button, the checkpoint JWT auth, and then the kind of code snippet for auth showed up. Is that what you are suggesting, David?
I'm on mute. That's very interactive for like the starter page. You could actually see the app being built. Certainly that would be cool. I was just referring to like the front page. We all like to see code like as fast as possible. We're that way. And so if there could be at least a usage of every API in the code snippet, it might be a little overloaded, but it would be very effective. And then we just need some way to be, some way by moving the mouse around to highlight what specification everything is.
Yeah, that's where I go back to that square box that they had with the text in the middle, where they had the specs on the perimeter.
It could be like that. It could be a code snippet in the middle, and then like as you highlight around the edge, maybe it could highlight in the code snippet what API, the annotations, right?
So we are like last thoughts. We have 1 minute to go.
Are we trying to just show a snippet, or are we trying to promote a bit like how MicroProfile starter looks and everything?
Had nothing to do with starter for me.
Okay, so this is just something completely else.
Right. I was just like, there's that diagram of all the APIs in a circle and text in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You could have code block in the middle, and as you highlight around the different APIs, it highlights different snippets of the code.
That's kind of neat.
Right. Bayo, send a note to the Git ticket that is added into the agenda for feedback. All the feedback is being received via the ticket. So everyone is welcome to check it out and provide feedback, because nothing will go live until it has been screened by the community that wants to collaborate in this project. And one thing that we did before we go to working group, one thing that we did while eliminating things in the page, we thought about the search engine, and we even discussed about it. Oh, Steven is leaving just when we go into the working group and you had questions.
That's okay. I'll show up next week. Sorry about that.
It's recorded.
It's recorded, yeah.
So we're thinking is this a whole new card, or is this to replace what we're looking at right now, kind of thing?
Let's do it as a new card, and we'll just see how it works with the.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm kind of calling time here, so trying to manage the clock as moderator. Not an enviable job, but thanks everyone. All right, so I'm going to share my screen again, because the next thing I want to get into is, let's see, share screen, Google Chrome. There we go. All right, so I created a slide deck. This came up, I forgot when it's coming up, but basically it just talks about the life cycle of a working group, right? So where are we at within the life cycle of creating a working group, right? So there's a couple of intro slides. This is, again, it's a link here in the meeting minutes if folks want to take a look. And a couple of intro slides that just set the context. What are these phases of the working group, of a working group life cycle? And then I put down where I think we are, right? So these may not be perfect. I was still working on this before the call, but basically, we're almost beyond the opportunity phase. And this is what I want to get to right after this. Very brief overview of this slide deck is we need to review the working group based on more recent comments. And then where I think we are in the rest of the phases, right? We already have some thumbs up in that we're, in some cases, fully, fairly far along in the other phases as well. The two things, actually, maybe one thing I want to point out that we hadn't really talked about is a marketing plan. We don't really have a formalized marketing plan, Amelia, around the working group. I mean, we have items in the marketing issue tracker, but it's not necessarily a plan per se. Yeah, so maybe in our next call, we should discuss a working group marketing plan.
Yeah, we had it from the past in 2016 and 17. I think we stopped in 2019 just because there's no budget, and we would only do it when someone commits to the t-shirts and is very dedicated. So let's do one that is much more like the budget for 2021. We can, right. We do this also. I created an onboarding document yesterday while talking. I was inspired by Tatiana joining the call, and these are the kind of things that we can do while we onboard ourselves or the project itself to the working group, because we will need something that says this is must have, these ones are nice to have, and then we put right. a goal, and it gets adjusted hopefully every quarter to make it simple to fail fast, and track whatever we aim at achieving each quarter or each month. So yes.
Okay, so feel free to take a look at this. I have some TBDs in there, things that we still have to do, but feel free to review. So if those of of you are wondering about where we are in creating a working group, this is intended to kind of give you a glimpse in just a few slides of where we are. So let's see. Next thing, sorry, it's my tab's hiding under something else, is to go to the charter. And, you know, we're oh so close. But it looks like we have to update based on last week's call and prior discussions to have a committer member let's see, we can't just take all the committers, roll up their vote, and have that apply towards steering group decisions, right? There has to be a person in between, and it deals with IP flow, right? So there has to be an individual involved. And so I see Amelia, you know, Paul's been commenting, Kevin. So maybe if Amelia, since you guys have been pretty active on this, and Kevin, if you guys maybe want to provide your insights about where we are and maybe fill in any gaps in the comments I've made.
Kevin, go ahead.
Okay, so there's actually two aspects to this, John. So one of them is what Paul indicated, is that we're missing a definition of a committer member. And that is something that we just need to, it's kind of cookie cutter, and we just need to cut and paste. And I offered to do that after last week's call, and I didn't get around to it. So give me the action again this week, and I'll try to do that. It does look like somebody, oh, Amelia, it looks like she had put some stuff in there already. So maybe she already did this. So I will.
Yeah, because you said you will do it, but there was no ticket. It's hard to forget. It's easy to forget. So what I did was yesterday, I added it. I did a copy paste from what we have in the working group for the Jakarta and the charter.
Yep.
And I have concerns on a section, and I added it there, but the wording is pretty okay. My comments on the document, and in this part that has been always a constant, is that MicroProfiler committers are voted in by the community. We, the project itself, cannot change Eclipse Foundation working group's terms. The working group terms is a new activity for Eclipse, for the Eclipse Foundation. And a working group, a company or an organization can pay to get committers into any project they choose to. My thought on this has been, and it will continue to be forever, that even because you can doesn't mean that you ought to. We need to be super careful, because what is the message that say to someone that has been working for months to achieve commit status when we have, that is I would be disillusioned if I have worked so hard on this project and suddenly because someone pays, they get their people into, and we don't even know how many people can be added. They get their people into the project as commits, and they can do anything that I am not able to do because I don't have commit. I'm talking about a non-commit, right? So I'm saying this is a section I wrote my explanation in the comments, because it is, the message is in every single charter that I have seen under the Eclipse Foundation, new groups. There are about 5 or 6 of them coming in 2016. But can we internally agree as a project that when someone comes on board, can they earn their commits and be voted in instead? You already have a vote. Oh. If you, Jelastic will have a vote.
Isn't that a different topic entirely?
It's part of the topic.
Yeah, it is. I understand where you're coming from, Amelia, but we have to allow this because of the IP considerations.
Correct.
So when someone comes on board to the working group and they have potential IP that might be involved, we have to allow them to assign a committer if one does not exist. So we can't adjust this, and that's why you're finding that all of the working groups that are associated with specifications, they all have the same clause.
The same clause. So we don't need to create a new class. And I'm saying one commit if the organization has IP, and it will submit it's like the questions are, do you have IP that will you contribute to the project? And if so, do you need access now, or do you plan to earn it later? Because there are some questions on the onboarding that we need to put into place. I am very aware that MicroProfile cannot change how the Eclipse Foundation Working Group Charter is created. This allows the pay to play, but we need to be very careful on why will someone be added, and the explanation needs to be stated and constantly repeated.
I just want to make sure, because it still feels like we're hijacking the topic so we're talking about corporate members, whether a corporate member can assign a committer to the project. So if we resolve that, and in what way does it help us address the new topic of committer members?
There are two questions here.
Well, right. So the question is, the topic started about committer members, and I did have a question on committer members, but I'm waiting for that part of the conversation to start.
Okay, so let me say, this is a message that Kevin and I put forward. I did the inventory and I said I would help Kevin, and I did, and I forgot to add you, Kevin, onto that. But that is fixed with this message, because it's a constant in about 6 different charters that are new to the working group. Now, how does the vote for the committers count? That is the second question. There are 2 layers to this new insert.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that. So
yeah, let's talk about that.
What is the IP gap specifically about committer members? What IP gap is created by the virtue of all committer members voting?
I think those are separate topics.
So the committer membership, okay, so the addition of committer members as a membership level is simply to say that you can be an individual and sign the thing and be a member of the community. Yes. Totally cool. Amelia had advocated for that in the past.
Since April.
So great. We got it in there. Now on the topic of voting.
Right. That's the second aspect.
Well, is there something to clarify on this aspect before we move on?
No.
I'm trying to highlight what I think might be the text. Sorry, I haven't read it yet. I have to read this.
Yeah,
it's highlighted on the screen.
I think Amelia has cut and paste the right stuff. I'll go out and take a look. So I think that aspect, let's just say that part's done.
Yeah, it is done.
And then let's talk about the voting part.
And the voting goes down. Kevin, who is presenting right now? John?
Yeah, so I just wanted to ask the question, like, what is the gap what is the IP gap created by letting everybody vote?
Paul explained some down the page. I think it's page.
Okay, before we do that, sorry, I just want to see if I can resolve these issues as we go.
No, let's not, John.
Okay, okay.
I want to go back and just, re-verify. And if I think that Paul's concerns are all covered by Amelia's, then I'll go out and resolve them.
Yes, we need second eyes. And I'm sorry, Kevin, I should have added you, but I added it last minute.
I wouldn't have had time to look at it anyway.
Exactly. There you go. There. David, this shows Paul's feedback is super long.
Right. I guess I don't understand Paul's statement that they aren't people. Right. So.
Well, who would be in the steering committee meetings to vote? Because that's where the voting actually, I think, formally happens.
Not all votes. There are different kinds of votes. We're talking.
If we run a specification vote, that's all online, not not in a meeting setting.
Yes.
But there's working group charter updates, right, is another one.
But that will be voted. The original plan, and let's recap, the original plan was for committers to have a vote where, right now we will need 29 of the committers to vote to pass to be a +1, 29 out of 40 something, right? So then that means that If we don't get the 29th, the vote doesn't pass. What I read on Paul, and I think we need to create a new thread and ask him to clarify this, and we should have done it last week, but we totally, it's end of July. Let's give it an excuse. The point is that when he says you can vote, the committers can vote to get someone a year to get that vote from the entire committee to come and be, hey, this is a change in the charter, the committers vote a yes or a no. And it's not that that committer will do any vote without every committer voting. If they, you know, the voting is voluntary, but every committee voting. It's not that whomever gets assigned gets to be like, speak for himself or herself and be like, I am the boss. I stated my concerns on this last week during the 1 hour call. And I said, every single time we say and we choose a lead for any project, that tends to create, we tend to enhance that voice of that committer, and then the other voices get swallowed, because that is human nature to think that someone else will do the work and speak for us. And I see a danger for us if we don't clarify this with Paul directly in the forum, because as we have it, I see no issue with every committer using that majority vote to say this is what the committers voted, because it's not IP.
So,
it's not IP, so there's no breakage.
So I'm going to bring up a point that Paul makes that's a valid point, where sometimes steering committees make ad hoc decisions, right? Even if we're all right, our steering committees, we plan on having public, right? Just as an FYI. So sometimes steering committees have ad hoc votes. And what he's saying is, by the approach that we're taking, we're adding, you know, a week's worth of time potentially to every ad hoc vote. Now, we consider ourselves to be agile, fast moving, and the approach we're taking, and by the way, I'm not advocating one way or the other, I'm just kind of restating his point, which I think is a valid point, is that it would actually, you know, at the behest of getting everybody's vote counted, we're also slowing ourselves down, right, for ad hoc votes in the steering committee. I think that's a valid point he's making.
Yeah, but John, if this community cannot by itself 1 week to get every voice to speak up, then we have a problem. And is that what MicroProfile is going to become under the working group?
Well, and why? I don't know, it's up to the working group to decide.
Yeah. So
like,
we have the, you know, potentially quarterly working group meetings, and the rest of the meetings are not working group meetings in our decision-making process.
4 times over a year.
We discussed already, our decision-making process is going to largely be simply using the Eclipse development process, unless we are obligated to for other reasons, which would be approving a specification or amending the charter, for example. Approving a budget, perhaps. And in which case, I don't necessarily see a problem with there being a week delay, because in many of those cases, there's going to be a week delay anyway. And in my experience with budget-related stuff, it's never quick or ad hoc. It always takes longer because there's money. So I don't really see any time savings possible there.
Yeah.
So I guess I personally would prefer to have the problem before we optimize it out.
Correct.
So,
and
Emily, let Emily speak, so we have some more voices.
Right. So I think is in order to address Paul's concern, yeah, we can add this committer, and then we don't say what exactly committer vote is. We can use what you suggest, David. I mean, everybody vote and the committer can be a proxy. If we hit the problem as John described, and then we can revisit, etc. I mean, from this charter, I looked at the Jakarta charter, and it's really simple. So we don't need to really put a lot in it. We just say we have a committer. Yeah, so and then it's kind of, we can just choose kind of proxy committer, and then is that committer directly saying, okay, this is a vote. But that,
I wasn't even saying there would be a proxy. I was just saying maybe we could have the problem and see how it works.
Yes,
I think his poll, but I think his poll already said is not acceptable. We do need to have a name the committer though.
I think we just need to figure out what is behind A.
Yes, let's send a note with a copy paste of what he said in the forum.
All the voting people are they're all people, right? So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but if you make a vote out of the majority of the committed voters, then you do not have a single vote tied to a physical person, and that is, I think, the main issue here.
I think you're right.
And what Emily said, okay, you can maybe specify not that much in the charter, just that you have a committer member, but if you do not. That's my opinion. If you do not specify explicitly how it will be worked by proxy or whatever, then is there not a legal discussion afterwards possible? Because if we are doing something, is it then still what is accepted by the Eclipse Foundation or not?
So before we move forward on this, and Rudy, you have a point because that is what Paul is saying. Can someone here take the task to send the questions that we have directly to the forum with copy paste to Paul so that we can get the answer? Who wants to own that task?
I will do it. I will follow up with Paul.
But can you follow up via the forum?
Yeah.
All right, and do you know what to ask?
Yes, about the committers.
All right.
If we can avoid having.
Yeah, if I ask, I asked, about my concern. Anybody, if I don't ask your question, you can also jump in to ask as well.
Thank you for owning that task. Like that, more voices can come in. And the main question is, do we really need a proxy? And that is like, we don't plan on having any hash changes. We will meet every quarter. And nothing will be done in private. So I don't see the 1 week. John, valid points, but it's not every week or every month, it's every quarter. So there is no issue with 1 week delay. So thanks, Emily. Any other things in consumption of what Paul said? John, can you go lower so everyone can read it? He went really lengthy here.
That was the whole thing. Oh.
He added more.
Yeah.
If my feedback on this second part is, if we must have a proxy, we need to definitely write a wiki and say, it's not that this person is the it's that this person will use their vote, whatever goes, and it will be verified that is actually the voice of the community of committers, and then like just that kind of thing.
I guess if this is going to go into a spot where we're back to electing people annually, and that person, at their discretion, has the ability to possibly maybe include the votes from the other committers, I'm not really on board with. I'm
a -1.
That's not what Paul. So two things. First of all, time check. We have 8 minutes. But I don't think that's what Paul's advocating. I think, up here he even has in the B section, I think, about their, something somewhere about them being obligated to vote the way the larger community voted.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reading that that's not the case. I'm reading that at their discretion, when the opportunity arises, they will consult the greater community.
And I don't like that. That's a -1. Like, what is the entitlement? No.
The person, because they're on a meeting and the decision may be made on the meeting, has the ability to vote with no one else's feedback but their own in that meeting.
That's a bold judgment.
And that this gets us speed. And so I'm specifically saying I'm not really interested in
I see.
that speed, right?
And we don't have that problem.
So I'm not really interested in that speed, but obviously if there's a legal gap, then we need to address that. But I personally am not interested in making it so an individual has optimized ability to act alone.
Yeah, and we don't want that. I have seen it. Okay, let me just say, I'm not going to.
Yeah, I don't want to throw anybody. That's not.
But we have seen it, and it doesn't work. It doesn't represent the community and under the working groups I'm seeing. So we don't want that, and we don't have that pressure because we will meet every quarter. So let's try to get rid of this requirements.
Well, there may be something to work with it, but I would just like to know what the limitations are around A.
Yep.
The other thing that So the other thing is the committers, but the committers is not in private meeting with the Eclipse Foundation. The committers is in a meeting together with other representatives and etc. And when we elect this committer or vote in a proxy and etc., we can define our own terms and conditions as well, right? So we can avoid what she or he is trying to do and etc.
And it doesn't necessarily have to, if we need to appoint a proxy, the proxy doesn't necessarily have to be voted in annually. It could be something along the lines of there's a pool of 5 people and they rotate quarterly.
Yeah, we could do that as well.
Be creative, but I would prefer to
avoid that.
Prefer to know what I would prefer to just get a little bit closer perspective on what it is around A, because the swiftness comment of B is not something that concerns me personally, but I personally am attracted to the drag of having to include all the committers in these types of decisions.
Yes.
I think that's a positive personally, so I don't see it as a negative to be optimized. But.
Well, the one point I think it was brought up earlier, because we do meet bi-weekly, right now weekly, all right, and we could define whatever we want the cadence to be, and hopefully these issues would come up before the steering committee meeting where we could hash them out in these live hangouts and then be prepared for a vote.
And I cannot
quickly thereafter.
Yeah, John, you just brought it up. I cannot wait for us to go to just twice a month meeting and just drop any conversation about the working group and just move on to code and doing fun things. Can't wait.
Well, and I think, that also gets back to what things have to be steering committee decisions versus just a community, regular old Eclipse development process votes, right? So.
One of the things that we have not set up, what is the goal of the steering? We know the main goal, but I think when the steering or when the committee meets, it should be because we have bring the roadblocks and issues and constant feedback loop on what had happened during that quarter. I think to have the agenda with just a repeat of what has been happening every month, because we will continue to have this Tuesday, 11 p.m. PDT to calls. I believe that the value of such a call is so that we address not only issues and problems, but also say the things that we could do better, the things like this retrospective, the ownership that we are growing and continue to grow. When I don't see this happen in a body that is meant to own progress, and I don't see the accountability in the minutes or the video recording, it makes me cringe personally. But this is something that I have in my mind when we talk about open source and what we can do, because MicroProfile can shape and can be a body that is worthy of emulation under the working groups. Under the Eclipse Foundation, working groups are new, and everyone is discovering for themselves how to navigate the working group waters. John, if you lower in the minutes, there is a part that I said, we owe ourselves to write the retrospective on surviving the working group, and for that to be added into not only the wiki that explains what went down and make it exact and not glamour what is not true, but also another item that I added that is already inviting comments in the documents is to write a Q&A that we are achieving by forum and private conversations in the past that says, yeah, it's at the end, that says the Q&A that we can add not only to the website, but also share with the board of directors, with the Eclipse community, the Eclipse Foundation committers, and the MicroProfile community as a whole, because not everyone has been interested in working on the working group. But I believe that because we're surviving it, we are better positioned to do these two things: do the retrospective to make it honest of the good and the bad and all that came within, and then write a Q&A. Because if we don't do this, others are going to find themselves in the same thing. And also to provide feedback to the board of directors that are in charge of making sure that communities like us survive.
We got 1 minute.
Yeah, that's it. That are the minutes added here, and the links are added to this for later, for this group to look.
Just time check, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're on mute, John.
You're still muted, John.
It's still muted. Yep.
Okay, Emily, if you could add this AI to yourself, that would be awesome. I'm logged in as me and not as my community and not my work, so I'm not getting auto completion on your email. So if you could add this AI to you, that would be awesome. We're at the top of the hour, so I am going to kind of end the call. So thanks everyone for joining. We will see everyone in 1 week for the working group edition call. So same bad time, same bad channel in 1 week, where we can maybe talk about this a little bit more, maybe have a little bit of progress. Thanks,
Yep.
Emily, and thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Okay.
Nice
Have a
seeing
great
you.
week, everybody.
You too.
Take care.
Everyone,
Take care.
bye.
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 All right.